Afternoon, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our exclusive webinar on the seamless experience of owning luxury properties abroad with Picasso. My name is Lucy Woltman, and I'm a Senior Vice President of New Development at Picasso. I'm so excited today to be joined by two of our top experts, Joey Byrne, our Senior Director of European Expansion, and Pedro Saldivar, our Head of Mexico Sales. Joey and Pedro will be sharing their insights on how Picasso simplifies international property ownership for US buyers. Okay, let's get started. For those that are not as familiar with our international presence, maybe Joey and Pedro, we could start by giving an overview of our homes in both Europe and in Mexico. That'll help us really start the stage. Joey, why don't you share with us and go first?
Sure. Thanks, Lucy. Hi, everyone. Currently in Europe, Picasso operates in both London and Paris. In Paris, our homes are predominantly located in the 7th arrondissement, and even more specifically on the famous Rue de Bac, steps from the River Seine, the Louvre, and many other famous Paris landmarks that you may know. Some of our owners just got to enjoy the French Open and are very, very excited for the upcoming Olympics this summer. Those are the owners in our first home at 14 Rue de Bac, which was actually our fastest selling Picasso ever, which sold out in just a matter of a couple of weeks, well before we even closed on the home. We actually have one share remaining in our second home on Rue de Bac, which is a beautiful 2-bedroom home, priced at just $595,000 per share. And switching gears to London, we have homes in prime central London in areas such as Mayfair and Chelsea. And we actually just launched a new home in Mayfair this week, which we'll discuss a little bit later on in the webinar.
Fantastic. And Pedro, what's the landscape like in Mexico?
Hola a todos. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks again for joining. To give you an overview of Mexico, we currently operate throughout Cabo. We started here 2 years ago, and it has been one of the most successful and demanded markets in Picasso. We have some beautiful homes in top resorts like Palmilla, Esperanza, communities like Puerto Los Cabos, Las Ventanas, and we will continue growing and expanding into these amazing new communities. Some of the favorite perks of our owners here in Cabo are the numerous amenities that each home offers. Some homes have infinity pools, indoor, outdoor living, pickleball, paddle, tennis courts, even a ping pong in the backyard. And the best thing is they have access to beach clubs and proximity to swimmable beaches, restaurants, shops, supermarkets, and everything within a golf cart ride. And the golf cart is included with each home.
Well, listening to you both, have to think the commonality amongst myself and everyone listening is that both of these destinations sound incredible and really highly appealing to potential buyers. So, of course, that begs the obvious question, which is how can we all start making memories in some of these destinations? Joey, I know Picasso simplifies the process, but tell us really how we do that and a little bit more how buyers can expect that.
Sure. So at Picasso, we handle everything from all the complex legal and financial aspects of international property ownership all the way up to the home management. As some of you may know or may have heard, it can be really daunting to own abroad, even quite frightening. But with Picasso as your trusted partner, we help guide our owners through the entire process, hassle-free, removing all the friction. Structuring, understanding all the various taxes, setting up utilities. We spend a lot of time before we enter these markets solving all these variables for our buyers. So when they come to us, all they really have to do is buy the share and show up and start enjoying their home.
My gosh, that sounds amazing. Does one typically use an agent abroad to help facilitate, purchasing a property, or what are the considerations that someone would have to understand in that regard, as well as others like notaries?
Sure. That is typically the first step, but it is a big hurdle. Finding someone in 6 hours, 7 hours ahead of time in a different time zones, finding someone you trust. In Paris, in particular, finding a trusted agent and a notary is very, very difficult. Buying in the right building, buying at the right price. learning how the 4-month closing process works, dealing with the language barrier, building HOA equivalent rules, understanding stamp duty, navigating the taxes, then figuring out how to insure the home, how to operate home, how to manage at home. It may sound like a lot, but those are just a few of the typical challenges buyers face when going through this process on their own. In London, buyers are particularly curious about something called stamp duty.
Yeah, what is that?
So stamp duty is a one-time transaction cost that applies to all real estate transactions in the UK and Europe. It doesn't matter if it's your first home or your 10th home. It doesn't matter if it's a studio or a 20 million pound townhouse. Stamp duty applies to all transactions. It's a tax upfront that you cannot finance. That's paid to the HMRC, which is the local tax authorities in the UK. And it's quite punchy to do it on your own. With Picasso, one of the benefits there is that you only have to pay your pro rata share of stamp duty. In the UK, it can be 15% upfront, and in Paris, it's 5.8%. So again, one of the many benefits of owning with us is that you only have to pay your pro rata share of that stamp duty.
Wow, that is definitely a consideration. And while we have you at the mic here, I have to think that you've probably surprised and delighted some buyers by just how easy we have made it. Is there a story or two that come to mind?
Yes, absolutely. Just last week, actually, was in Paris with one of our most recent owners on Rue de Bac. They actually previously owned another property in Paris that they bought about 10 plus years ago. That process took them over a year, flying back and forth from the West Coast of the US, for multiple tours, interviewing agents, notaries. It was really, really a barrier and a costly one, both financially and with time. When they met us, when they purchased with us, they said that, they wish we existed 15 years ago, given the high amount of pain and stress they went through, but they really couldn't believe how easy it was. They're so excited. And we've now got to meet a lot of their friends as referrals through the process.
Amazing. You took the gray hairs for them, it sounds like. Fantastic. Pedro, let's pivot over to you for a few minutes and tell us about some of the ways that Picasso provides solutions in your market in Cabo. Hello, Pedro? Okay, we might have a frozen Pedro here. No problem at all. I think, Joey, from my conversations with Pedro, what I understand, some of the hurdles are somewhat similar, right? Finding an attorney, choosing a notary. Are you back, Pedro?
Hi, Lucy. Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
Oh, great. Yeah, we were just turning our attention to you about some of the hurdles. I think some of them are somewhat similar to what Joey described in terms of finding a notary, but tell us a little bit more about those complexities in Cabo.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the main hurdles in buying a home in Mexico, and as Joey mentioned, is not knowing where to start or not knowing who to trust. You need the closing attorney, you need the right notary, you need a professional agent that can help you navigate all these struggles and all this journey. And to give you some context and to answer some questions that I saw come up, due to Mexican regulations, to acquire a property as a foreign investor here in Mexico, that's within 50 kilometers of Mexican coasts and 100 kilometers of the borders, you need to form a fideicomiso. What's that? That's a Mexican bank trust. And how it works is the bank is the administrator, the trust is the owner, and the buyer would be the beneficiary of the trust. And trust me, this is even more difficult in practice, and it can take you months and even years if you don't know who to trust or who to work with. The good news is at Picasso, we have the best team working on that structure. So US citizens, Canadians, or any international buyer can own a Picasso hassle-free. Similar to our ownership structure in the US, we form an LLC, which receives the beneficial ownership of this Mexican bank trust, fideicomiso, and then purchases the property. So once the owners buy the share of the LLC, they have the full beneficial ownership rights over the home, and they are truly rightful owners.
Amazing. Again, it sounds like you do all of the legwork and eliminate a lot of the complexities for buyers. So, okay, you all take care of it all, so to speak, or at least coordinating with others that make it all come together. And a buyer shows up for the very first time. What can they expect in terms of design, the experience, walking through that front door for the very first time? Pedro, while you're at the microphone, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question, Lucy. And this is one of the favorite things about our owners here in Mexico, because it can take months to design, like for instance, a 4-bedroom luxury home here in Cabo with high-end furnishings, finding the best vendors, dealing with delays because some may come from other parts of the country. But luckily for you, we have an amazing operations team here in Picasso, and the design team is incredible, and it's truly very different than buying a traditional home. So what we do different in Cabo is our homes are sourced locally from Mexican artisans and vendors, mainly from Guadalajara and Baja California. So we curate high-end furnishings and art and outfit the homes. So you will always have everything you need to cook the perfect Thanksgiving meal. And of course, when you're here, you don't even have to worry about anything because we do it all for you.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Let me just interject our flow of our conversation to recognize we're getting some great questions in the chat. And so if you since I'm reading while I'm talking, I will do my best to read those and ask you both questions if to the best of my ability. Pedro, just again, speaking with you for a few more minutes, if you will, security is a concern sometimes when people are traveling in and around Mexico or to Cabo, they want to have a relaxing stay, feel comfortable. Can you touch a little bit about some of those aspects?
Yeah, sure. For starters, all of our homes are located in very safe communities that are gated and with private security 24/7. So owners feel really safe here in Mexico, which is amazing for all of us. And when they arrive in Mexico, they want to know they are taken care of and everything is clean. So we have an operations and home management team that ensures that everyone will arrive and they don't have to lift a finger when they're here.
Oh, fantastic.
Another great advantage of owning in Cabo is we have concierge services. So we can arrange transportation, we can deliver groceries to your home, we can do private chefs, we can help you get boat rides, fishing tours, and many other amazing activities that you can do here in Cabo. To give you an example, we have an owner that loves coming to Cabo with the whole family, with the parents, kids, grandkids, everyone. And this is the only place where they can really get all together because they found a beautiful 6-bedroom house, and they don't even need to take care of anything. Like they arrive to the airport, their transportation is there, they get to the homes, they have food ready, they have a chef, they have everything planned, reservations. So this is really the only opportunity for them to get together and really enjoy without worrying about having the house ready.
Amazing. Gosh, I just keep getting more and more excited, and I promise I didn't plant this question in the chat. But Joey, I wanted to talk to you about sort of sourcing. And we were asked in the chat, do we have any plans to go to Italy? So maybe could you spend a moment or two talking about how, at Picasso, we really let our buyers dictate where we go, and a little bit about how you source inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it, Lucy. Our buyers really help us dictate where we go in Europe. One of our strategies is really pre-aggregating demand before entering a market. As I alluded to previously, there's a lot of time and energy spent on understanding structure, local laws, the neighborhoods, micro locations, developing the best relationships. And so we do that through really a lead buyer program. And as we continue to have these conversations and pre-aggregate demand, that is certainly something we're looking to do to add new markets. So it would be very, very keen to speak with anyone that's very bullish on some of these other cities or even countries that we most likely have on our radar. While we definitely lean on our buyers to help us navigate which markets we enter, we really are the local property market experts. We have access to the best properties in the best locations at the best prices through our very deep developer and agent relationships. For example, our last Paris property was off market. We were the only people to see it, given our strong reputation, ability to transact and ability to close, which also helps get us the best terms on the homes and therefore the best terms for our buyers. So the sourcing piece is something we obsess over. And then kind of next steps are really doing all the due diligence to make sure that exact home passes our very, very thorough inspections, our evaluations. They have the right finishes, the right amenities. We obsess over micro location. As you know, we have a very, very strict buy box, and we are very strict on the acquisition side. So there's a lot of work that goes in on the back end, all to make it much easier for our buyers just to kind of show up, tour the best homes in these markets, and start enjoying their time there.
Amazing. Let me press for a moment about, operating expenses abroad. And this actually also relates to a question in the chat, which is, monthly maintenance fees, things of that nature, operating expenses. Again, Joey, could you shine a light a little bit of how that works, namely in London and Paris, and then Pedro, I'll come over to you.
Yep. The bottom line, operating expenses in Europe, with our focus on London and Paris, are exponentially less than in the US. And that's mostly driven by the lower property taxes over here. For example, the last home that we bought was the equivalent of about $4 million US. The property taxes on an annual basis are about $4,000. What does that mean? That means that directly lowers the 1/8 monthly operating expenses for our buyers. As an example, for our first home in Paris, the 1/8 total monthly operating expenses were about $820 a month. That's total, and that's basically the equivalent of less than one night in a luxury hotel in Paris.
Wow.
So very, very attractive in that sense.
Okay, thank you for that. And Pedro, another question for you actually about sort of the buyer experience. You talked a little bit about what a buyer can expect when they come through that door. We're being asked, when purchasing a share, is the potential buyer allowed to see which weeks are available before they purchase? Or could you talk a little bit about how our sales team, sits down and explains the process? I know you do quite a bit of that kind of consultative work.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we know it's important for you to know which dates are available and when can you come here. I saw some questions on the chat, and yeah, the minimum is 2 nights, maximum is 40 nights. But obviously you can buy a quarter share and then you'll be able to go there for 28 days in a row. We do have a lot of buyers here in Cabo that opt to buy a quarter share, and they have more flexibility on the calendar. And before buying, we show them the calendar, we show them what's available, and then we have a set of rules to make it fair for everyone. I don't want to get much into detail on that, but technically what you can do is you'll be able to have weeks or stays during peak season, no matter if you buy at the beginning or at the end, you'll have some dates in peak season, and then you also have holidays here. Some people ask, can I use Christmas? Is Thanksgiving always gonna be occupied? And my question is no, because all of our buyers come from very different backgrounds, very different ages, countries. And so sometimes people don't even want to come in Thanksgiving, or don't even want to come in Christmas, because it tends to be very crowded and they want to be just in peace. And some people are retired, so they don't even care about the holidays. So it's all about asking the right questions, and we're always here to help. And yeah, the calendar is available for you to see.
Amazing, thank you. And then lastly, just to return for a moment to fees, if you will, Pedro, I know one of the great advantages of your market is that we can offer financing. Tell us a little bit about how that works. I suspect that too has been kind of a complicated process to demyth. Let's share that a little bit with our listeners.
Yeah, sure. First of all, Cabo is an all cash market. So 99 of the transactions are made up in cash. And it's very hard for US buyers to get financing here in Mexico. But we have found a way to offer financing to our buyers, and you can finance up to 50% of the share price. And we offer competitive interest rates depending on the home and on the date of purchase.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, before we wrap up, time sure flies. I did want to touch on just a couple of things. The first is for our listeners, they will see a poll popping up on our screen, on your screen. And we'd love for you to share any kind of topic that you would like to know more about Picasso, and we'll make sure that we get back to you with the right answers. So I'll give you a moment to respond to that pop-up. And then Joey and Pedro, if I could, before we wrap, just ask that you indulge us a little bit and tell us a little bit again about what you both have in terms of offerings in your given market at this time. So let's see, Pedro, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. So right now I'm very excited for this home. This is our newest Picasso in Cabo. It has everything our owners have been asking for, so I think it's gonna go really fast. It's a 6-bedroom home, more than 60,000 square feet, new construction, modern design, and you have some beautiful ocean views and golf course views. It's located in Puerto Los Cabos communities, in Fundadores. It's a double-gated and very safe neighborhood. Some of my favorite features here is it has a private cinema room, where you can enjoy endless movie nights with the whole family, which is awesome. I mean, I've never seen a house with a cinema here before. Then you have the walk-in wine cellar, which is also great. You can safely store your precious wine and delight your guests. We will even have lockers to leave your personal wine. So that is something a lot of people ask for. And then with the purchase of the home, we will have access to some very nice amenities like access to the Puerto Los Cabos golf course. There's a beach club with restaurants, bar. There's a big pool and a jacuzzi, outdoor yoga patio. There's a fitness center. And then with the house, as I mentioned earlier, you'll have a golf cart included, which is great. In this one, we decided to add 2 golf carts. So one member can go play golf and the other one can go to the beach. So this is amazing. You can also use the golf cart to go to the marina, to the restaurants, cafeterias, resorts, groceries. I mean, anything. You don't even need to rent a car, and this is why people love coming to Cabo and to some of these communities. Another great feature is the locker storage. Other than the wine storage, you have a private locker in the garage where you can leave your personal belongings, and you don't have to bring a heavy luggage each time you're here.
I know, thank you, Pedro. I know those are renderings, of course, because our buyers love new construction properties, but we'll be able to share, the design and some of the aspects of the home as it becomes more realized. Thank you for painting that picture for us. Joey, what are you excited about?
Yes, as you can tell by my background, I'm especially excited about our latest Paris home, which is a brand new renovated 2-bed, 2.5 bath on the famous Rue de Bac. As you guys know now, we had our first home also on Rue de Bac, which sold out quite quickly. This home is just up the street. You're still a 5-minute walk to the Louvre, to the Seine, to Musée d'Orsay. You're really in the heart of it in the 7th arrondissement. This home is closing in September. We only have 2 shares left. The price is $595,000 US. with the low operating expenses of just $820 a month, which is an all-encompassing cost. One really unique aspect about this home is that while you are in a several hundred-year-old building, we have a brand new renovation inside, which also includes air conditioning, which is a very, very rare feature in Paris. You're also above one of the oldest and most famous wine shops in the 7th arrondissement, which is a nice little amenity for our owners. We are also working on a new 3-bedroom listing. I will be in Paris tomorrow touring a potential buyer for this home. So if anyone on the chat is interested, please reach out. We can set up a FaceTime tour tomorrow.
Fantastic. And are we also pursuing another home in London?
Yes, so we just added this one about 2 days ago, and we've already received very, very strong interest. This is a very interesting home located right in the heart of Mayfair, just opposite the Claridge's Hotel, the world famous Claridge's Hotel. You're a few minutes walk to Berkeley Square, to Hyde Park, all the other famous shopping destinations on New Bond Street, private members clubs. This is a brand new construction home that's slated to complete in December. It's located on the only gated street in all of Mayfair. So security is really top notch. Some of our neighbors include the embassies of Italy and Argentina. It's a brand new duplex penthouse that features 3 beds, 3.5 baths. It's really, really a special home that we've been working on with the developer for a while now, but very excited to finally be able to launch it this week. So share price on this home is 1.55 million USD, with some financing opportunities available as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I love the sounds of Mayfair, a historically kind of old classic neighborhood with new construction. That sounds really, really special. Well, you two really are the experts, as you've just proven, and have indeed worked so hard with others at Picasso to eliminate many of the complexities for purchasing and enjoying and making memories in Europe and Cabo, London, Paris in particular. So thank you both so very much for your time today, and thank you to our listeners. I hope you've walked away with a better understanding of how we operate and make things simpler for you abroad. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you.
Thank you.